Hi everyone, 1975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous on the Xbox One. This opening clip's just for context. This was me delivering some cargo to the mining CG that happened ages ago. I'm making this video now, but I don't know when I'll be putting it out because I'm kind of waiting for Pool of War to do a very grandiose video showing me dying. This was me shooting at Garrax outside the station in my cutter. This video is going to be some general advice and tips on escape and evasion guide, and this is a very good example of what not to do. Do not, for one, shoot the station, but we'll get into that as I do. You'll see Garrax starts really like hugging the outside of the station, and I've watched it back, and it's bad trick of discipline. It's just bad, but you shouldn't take the risk. Just don't mess with people that play station games. This clip is a nice simple one. I'm winging it around in a ship with grom bombs. This is Mayroon showing you how to survive the gank, because apparently if you lead an assault on a fed system you can call everyone gankers and that's fine. But he survives this attempt on his life through the use of fast boot FSD. Now fast boot FSD doesn't jump you any quicker or do anything like that. It increases how quickly your drives turn back on when you've turned them off. Now that sounds useless, that sounds pretty damn pointless, until you factor in the fact the Grom Bomb turns off your FSD. So the Grom Bomb missile and the what people refer to as the Chinese knockoff Grom Bomb, the engineered experimental effect, turns off your FSD. So with fast boot FSD you can turn it back on, it comes back on, and you can jump out. It also means it turns back on quicker than the cooldown timer for the FSD missiles, so the disruption will not affect you too badly and you can get out. I have fast boot FSDs on virtually all of my combat ships. I would recommend it heavily on all your large combat ships. I oddly don't have it on my pirate cutter. I should, but I don't because I'm lazy, and re-engineering stuff is just something I never get around to doing. But if you're going to take a ship into combat, consider a fast boot FSD, especially these days with people using grom bombs to try and confirm kills. Also these days with carriers, jump range is a little less important, so the quality of life you lose for having a bad jump range is made up for by the time it saves your life. There was the station blasting my shields up. I literally hit it with one bullet, I swear. This clip is me being an idiot. I'm so focused on ramming Pool at War, I think this is. I can't remember exactly, but I think it's Pool at War. And somebody uses me being an idiot and being so focused to launch torpedoes at me. I must admit that I do not notice when torpedoes launch at me, especially when they're in amongst the massive pack hounds. And my first indication that torps are in the water is my shields going down there. And what I do immediately is turn to face the ship with the missiles, because you want to make sure. I also should have pre-edited that list, as I've shown you in my escape and evasion guide. Just systems and stations will do you when you're going into combat, because it makes it way easier to find where you want to go. But when you're in this situation, face the guy with the missiles as much as possible, because those missiles will tear through your drives incredibly quickly. You do not want them hitting your drives at the back of your ship. Now, one bit of advice I'll tell you is take any ship down to a res site and start targeting systems. Target drive, target FSD. Learn where those things are on the ships that you fly. That's what you've got to protect when your shields go down. That's all that's important. Your cockpit, your canopy, your weapons, those missiles can destroy them all day long. As long as it doesn't destroy the vital parts that help you escape, that's what the important thing is. Now, I'm going to touch upon something else about this, which is power management in a moment, but let's go back to me getting wrecked by a station. So as you can see, I'm getting absolutely wrecked by a station. The station does most of the damage here, literally all of the damage here. It's one of those things. I hit it with like one round of a multi-cannon, and that's it. I'm toast. Everything starts going wrong because my controller disconnected. And there's Garrax's Plasmax missing me by a country mile. How are you missing a football pitch? But he immediately ditched the fight that he was having around the station with that chieftain and immediately comes after me. I knew he would. Anyway, this clip, again, this is another good example for escape and evasion. This is about knowing your ship. This guy's come into conflict with a chieftain, which is a lovely ship, beautiful, maneuverable ship, but the thrusters are just exposed, and he loses his thrusters really quickly. Now, the reason I'm showing this is I know my ship pretty well, and you'll see I start heading out. I'm being focused at the moment by 2 or 3 cutters, I can't remember, 2 or 3 cutters and a couple of ship launch fighters. So I'm going to stay as long as I can putting out damage into the crippled chieftain, but I know my ship and I know what it can and can't take, and I also know those guys packing tons of scramble spectrum. So let's talk about scramble spectrum and surviving scramble spectrum. Scramble spectrum is a nightmare for hull tanks. It's really is. But one of the things you can do to mitigate is power management. Make sure that you have set on priority 1 only stuff that is essential to your survival and escape from the fight. This way, when your power plant goes down, those things are still likely to be working. You only want your FSD, your thrusters, and that's pretty much it. You want to just make sure, most people put their distro on there because you can afford to, but that's pretty much it. You can have that as 1, then everything else like weapons and blah blah blah, put as 2, then some stuff at 3, then some stuff at 4, and then finally at 5 probably your cargo hatch, unless it's a pirate ship, because when you do that in a pirate ship it's done. Now the reason you do this is when your power plant gets taken out, it drops to 40% of its power output. And you want to make sure that 40% power output still runs the stuff necessary for you to escape, because that'll give you the best chance of escaping. You're not likely to escape at that point, but it's worth having the chance to. And that is the important thing, is giving yourself that opportunity to escape. Whether you do escape or not is not really important. It's only a rebind, nobody really cares. But it's all about giving yourself the opportunity to escape. And another tip, which is my tip that I abuse way too much, is the power of reboot and repair. Now I don't run shield cell banks because A, I'm lazy, B, I'm terrible at timing them, and C, we all know I'm a thumbless scrub, so having more stuff to manage is not a good idea in combat. So I really just run these one and done shield jobs. But the beauty of them is they're very strong shields, and 50% is still really strong shields. So I quite often, once I get out the fighting, sit there and reboot and repair, and then I can come back in with 50% shields back. It's a dirty tactic, but it's one that's served me very, very well. And for newer players, reboot and repair cannibalizes your systems to repair modules. But also, if you're stationary, gives you 50% of your shields back. Now, one thing I would always say is you can silent running when you do this. You can flick it on, then do it, and it will just help out. But all in all, once you're 20k out, no one's really going to spot you. Only D'Amberger of IED has ever chased me out this far. But he's a persistent copper. It's probably why he's one of my favourites. He always goes after his man, much like Garrax does. So let's get back to me getting killed by Garrax. So here we go. Yep, Garrax tries to interdict me. Now I should have evaded, but instinct kicked in, and I always submit to interdictions, then up to high wake. I should have tried to evade the interdiction because, I'm on 22% hull. I'm dead meat. I'm in something the size of a football pitch. It's not going to be difficult to kill me. There we go. He's hit me once with plasmas, and I'm dead before my FSD even cools down. So GG to Garrax. Well done. Don't know what that plasmac's all about. That one's a bit wide. I nearly got away then. But GG to Garrax. It was a good kill. It was a really good kill. But let's face it, the station did most of the work, bud. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching 07 to Garrax in his final appearance as my nemesis. So if you wish to apply to be my nemesis, please leave a comment down below. I am looking for a new nemesis.